Welcome back to Radio Taiwan International. You're listening to Geek Out. What's your cup of tea, tickles your fancy, or floats your boat? Join us as we share passions from people in Taiwan and around the world. I'm your host, Michelle Chang, and today in the studio we have a friend who's very graciously graced us with her presence, Diana.
Hi, everyone.
What are we geeking out about today?
People, and I love traveling to meet more people.
Which is so great. It's such a wholesome topic. I love it. I also think that traveling is about the experience of meeting people along the way. So absolutely. Please, first of all, introduce yourself. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from two places. I'm from Ukraine and I'm from the US because I moved to the US back in 2007 and I kind of lost any unified identity, especially since I traveled so much. Taiwan is country number 63 I visited. And I spent over a month in a total of 8 countries. We're everywhere in Ukraine, 28 American states, still not all 50. But yeah, I'm kind of always puzzled what to answer. Am I from Ukraine? Not really. Am I from US? Not really. So
I think that happens. I myself am not from any one place. I spent time growing up in California and then I moved here and then I went back to Boston and now I'm here again. So when people ask me the question, where am I from? It's a hard one to answer, right?
yeah.
But you were born and raised in Ukraine.
Yep.
I did want to touch on that because of obviously recent events that are happening over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I am, first of all, I'm sorry. And obviously I
you.
hope that things resolve very, very soon, very quickly, very well.
Yeah.
Hopefully your family's not affected.
They are, but what can you do?
Right.
Yeah.
You left in, you said
2007.
2000. That's quite a while.
Yeah.
So why did you leave?
I pursued a dream of building cool career in Ukraine, and I won a fellowship to go study in the States, and the plan was I just get my master's and come back and become successful in Ukraine. But then I fell in love with America, and yeah,
I
so
love
I
that.
stayed.
Where did you move to?
Ohio.
Oh, that's unusual. So you went from Ukraine to Ohio.
Yeah.
That's very America.
Well, and you know, I won that very specialized fellowship that I knew would have great opportunities back home. But the catch was, in exchange for all the funding, I couldn't even know which university I would go. It was basically a contract.
Wow.
That they cover me, they pay for all my education, like room and board and things like that. Lots of professional events that they give funding for. And they choose, once I sign the contract,
Which university?
I go. So it was kind of like, oh, here is this almost a continent.
Yeah.
I'll end up somewhere, which is fine.
How was, so your first adventure was in Ohio. How did you like Ohio specifically?
Honestly, I liked it so much. It was a very liberal town, Kent State University,
Oh, you
where
went to Kent. Okay.
Ben and I met. And for a while I lived in my bubble. I thought everyone is educated, liberal, slim, and somehow I started having a need of driver's license because in Ohio it's very hard not to drive. And I got out to the bureau which allows you to get the license, and I saw, wow, Ohio is not what I thought, because I stayed at the very big, very beautiful university campus, and then I saw the sadness of people being extremely obese and the roads and everything not being pretty at all. It was run down, potholes on the streets. And yeah, I also went to bigger cities for shows, for events, Cleveland, and I usually stayed at nicer areas.
Right.
So yeah, it was an interesting experience of loving it and then expanding and seeing how...
There's two sides to every location, I think. Yeah. So besides Ohio, where was your next step?
Next step was Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh.
East Coast.
Carnegie Mellon University.
Oh, wow. So you went from Kent to Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
That's very cool. It's very prestigious. So good for you.
Yeah, I am a nerd, and I kind of had to keep studying because I decided I want to build a career in the US. But besides the catch that I didn't know which university I would go to, my fellowship obliged me to spend 2 years back in Ukraine in exchange for funding. So I spent summers in Ukraine, and then I would go to school and work. Once my fellowship finished, I had to teach or support myself
Right.
with some other types of fellowships and work. And yeah, so I'm a nerd also because that kind of goal of staying in the US required me to stay in school. The
Right.
only visa I
So
would
you-
get was
yeah.
student visas.
Oh, scholarships. Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're talking about meeting people along the way. I know you through Ben, a
Yeah.
mutual friend of ours. I worked with Ben at an English teaching school here. So you met him in university?
At Kent State
Yeah.
University, yeah.
And you kept in touch this entire time?
Facebook.
Yeah, right?
Facebook is my secret. Younger generation is joking that I should get onto Instagram. I also have Instagram. But Facebook kind of has this...
They're different.
Yeah. And it has Facebook has advantage of network. You kind of don't deactivate your account that much.
Yep.
So people from
Yep.
all kinds of countries, ages, my family, older family, it's easy to share pictures.
Yep.
So Ben and I, we just happened to be on Facebook, and I posted, hey, I'm going to Taiwan.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm really happy he followed up and he gave me so many cool tips already. I'm so excited to see him soon.
Yeah, I'm glad you've been bouncing around Taipei already.
Yeah. Bouncing from burning skillet to a burning skillet.
Yes, well, we did warn you. Taiwan in the summer. Listeners, if you guys ever want to come here in the summertime, it's hot. It's hot and humid. Very unsimilar to many other places in the world, so be prepared. But right, you went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to Carnegie Mellon. Any particularly interesting people you met there?
Students, teachers,
Or
even so the US has made... Oh, you remember Chicago.
I
You
do.
know, there are lots of kind of historic spots. So there was this organ hall that I would like to come over because there was this insane organ that was gorgeous inside of the old giant church, which
Yeah.
was a piece of
their artwork,
architectural...
they're amazing.
Yeah.
They really do know how to build cathedrals and churches.
Yeah.
So you said how many states? 28 was it?
28.
28 out of 50
Yeah.
states. That's pretty good. I've obviously really not been anywhere near that.
Well, it's a bit exhausting,
It
so
is.
maybe you did the right choice. Saving the energy.
So of the 28 states, which one's your favorite?
Oh my God, that's such a tough question, and I never thought of
Never would have thought
that.
about it that way.
I think because I'm really determined to keep living in California and even in San Francisco Bay Area, if I have to pick one, I think I would pick California. But funny thing, my wife wanted to move to California, and I was trying to keep her in Pennsylvania. So back when I lived in Pennsylvania, it was my favorite, and Pennsylvania was so much cheaper than California.
Oh, if
so-
you're comparing it specifically to the Bay Area,
yeah.
oh, there's no comparison. The Bay Area right now, even New York City proper, Manhattan,
Oh,
has a hard
yeah.
time comparing to Bay Area, California. It's crazy. Right, so you like California the best.
I think so, if I have to choose one. But they're also different. It's you know, from Chicago to
yeah.
California, it's like different country.
Oh,
right?
yes. Absolutely. I am a East Coaster myself. I very
Oh.
much prefer Boston.
Uh-huh.
But I found the greatest difference in the people, in the culture
Yeah.
of the people who grew up and live on the East Coast versus West Coast. The East Coast is very gritty. People tend to have more sharp edges, kind of on purpose. But I appreciate that because they're genuine. That is honestly who they are.
Yeah.
Whereas in California, everyone is just so nice.
I don't know. My impression, interestingly, is different. I remember in Ohio, you walk on the street and people smile to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I came from Ukraine,
Where you don't do that.
You don't do that. And I was walking in the streets in Ohio, and I thought something is wrong with my outfit, or
Yes, why are they smiling?
Laughing. They're laughing at me.
Oh no!
My friend is saying they're not laughing; they're smiling.
It's normal to just say hello or smile or something. Oh,
I was asking people around, what's the motivation? Why do you smile at others? And they explained to me, and I got the idea of trying to be nice, bringing something nice to the world. And then I came back to Ukraine, which was 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Not so many foreigners visited Ukraine, and Ukraine didn't get so impacted with Western culture. So nobody smiled. And people on the street saw me smiling, and they assumed I have mental illness.
Oh no, no! But you were just trying to be nice. Oh, that's funny. They don't do that in California anymore. They used to when I lived
Not
there.
as much as in Ohio.
I see.
Of course, compared to Ukraine, depends on the benchmark we use. And even Ukraine right now, it's so westernized. People do smile
that's
these
good.
days. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to be nice, I think.
Yeah.
So 60, how many countries? 63 countries. Taiwan is number 63.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. So please tell me, there's 63. We can't possibly get through them all. So let's, in the beginning of your travels, are there any countries that made an impact?
In the beginning, the very first was the impact, because when I started traveling for Ukrainians, it was so difficult to get visa anywhere.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
Not the richest country, the history of all these exit visas, not enough treaties with other countries, and even countries that were granting visas to Ukrainians easily, they were beyond my access due to financial reasons.
Right.
It's expensive to travel.
It is expensive to travel.
Yeah. And so the very first time when I won a fellowship to study at the summer school in Sweden, it was so impactful because I felt empowered. I thought, oh my God, there are things I could do. It's not like I have to find a way to get a visa or to find money to travel somewhere. There are other ways I could study. And the first one was also impactful because I realized how different cultures are around the world. Before that, I was mainly this Eastern Europe, post-Soviet.
You were in a bubble. Everyone kind of starts off in a bubble. And I think that's one of the best parts of traveling is to find out that the world is enormous and there's so many different people and different cultures to learn about, I think.
Yeah.
Sweet. I have never, okay, ready? Unfortunately, I have been very lazy about visiting Europe because when I was on the East Coast of the US, I was mostly a student and therefore didn't have the budget to go visit too many places when Europe was close to me. And then when I moved back to Taiwan, Europe is the furthest. It's difficult to get there.
Yeah.
So I've been a lot of places around in Asia and in the US, but not to Europe yet. I've only been to the UK, and that kind of doesn't count because they speak English. How was Sweden?
Sweden was surprising in terms of climate. Such a mild climate south of Sweden it was, and it was a summer school. Very comfortable climate, and they grow lots of wheat, similarly to Ukraine. So that was something I never expected to see when I went to Sweden. And also this beautiful, tall, blonde people. I'm short and dark-haired. We're doing radio. So naturally, I like tall. I always wished to be tall.
The Nordic people, tall and blonde and blue-eyed.
Yes.
Yep.
I was
definitely.
just people watching all the time, men and women, and they have this strong bodies. I'm kind of weak. Even carrying a package is hard for me, and they look so so strong.
Listeners, if you can't see Diana, she is a small thing.
5 feet 3 inches, which is why I like centimeters.
Yeah.
Metric system.
sounds
Because I'm
bigger.
161. It sounds like so much more,
Yeah,
right?
it sounds taller.
Than 5'3".
Yes. Culturally, I can imagine there was some differences between Sweden and Ukraine.
Oh, yeah. The smiling thing was also hitting me pretty hard.
Why are they looking at me and smiling?
And also, it's not as densely populated of a place. And you get surprised when you come from Ukraine, where it's two extremes: megapolis, which is modern and functional, or village, which is rural. Sweden is village that is modern and functional because it's not densely populated, but it's high income country. You see beautiful roads, gas stations. Oh, funny thing, today in this Maokong region, I saw Tesla charging stations.
Oh, yeah. Taiwan is actually getting really modern when it comes to, transportation especially. But we're cutting edge, leading the world in medical technology. It's actually quite a developed nation.
Yeah.
Tesla is getting everywhere. So besides Sweden, as you have gone on in your travel experience, any other countries that were impactful?
Oh, definitely. For the longest time, the top one of my favorite countries was second coldest capital in the world that I visited in February.
Oh,
You want to guess what that is?
second coldest capital in the world.
I can give you hints.
Well, my brain immediately goes to either Canada or Russia. No.
Closer
Closer.
in the latter.
Okay. Or no, I give up. I'm terrible at games. Please tell me.
It's in Asia.
Oh.
The first one is in Asia and the second one is in Asia.
So if it's in Asia, that would make it Mongolia?
That's the first.
Okay. One of the Istans?
Good job.
Kazakhstan's, yes.
Astana. It was such surreal experience because we're connected with them through history, through this lack of luck with communism. And they have huge immigration of Ukrainians, and it's such a rich experience for me. They're wonderful people in a sense of surviving in those widely uninhabitable lands. During Soviet times, people were sent there almost to a death sentence.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So they were tough people, resourceful.
Mainly, I would say intelligent, because Soviet Union sent dissidents to those lands. And so they probably found some clever ways to survive. I didn't explore that much. And then Soviet Union started rocket
testing.
How do they launch station there? So a bunch of rocket scientists moved there.
Oh, so adding smart to more smart.
And they also opened universities, because not enough universities allowed to defend PhD degrees in Moscow. And they thought, well, we already have enough rocket scientists, so more education went there. And then they started refining oil, and Americans bought and owned lots of oil refineries, even though it's a different sovereign state. So Americans started opening its own universities. But at the same time, there is a benevolent dictator as a head of the country.
Well, that is an ideal situation, because dictatorships only have a terrible reputation because usually a bad person is in charge.
Yeah.
If you can have a benevolent dictator, as a leader, then a lot of great things can happen. Oh, that might be my controversial opinion.
Well, dictatorship is more efficient and effective than democracy for sure, economically.
I think we can give that to them because it takes more time for democracies to get things done.
Yeah. But the surprise for me was that these highly intelligent people, even the young generation, believes that this great leader knows the best for the country, etc. It was so surreal to see how easy it is to
we call that we call that brainwashing in the West. It's simply because they are not taught anything else. So your favorite people or favorite cultural experience, which country would you say?
Hard to pick. They're all so different and they change the
They
more
do.
I travel.
That is true.
That's why I said for a long time Kazakhstan was top one, and then it started changing, and right now Polynesia and India are fighting for the top one.
Oh wow.
So it keeps changing, and all the people, I don't really feel that one culture is best or worst.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
Every culture has a lot of variation even within it. There's lots of different people that you're going to be meeting, awesome people, and maybe people that might need some improvement. But yeah, and each individual's experience within each individual culture will be very different. That is a lot of the fun part of traveling.
Yeah.
But Ryan, thank you so much for geeking out with me today, Diane.
Oh, it was so much fun.
And thanks, listeners, for tuning into Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Chang, and I'll be back next Thursday with another episode of Geek Out. Bye.